welcome along to our latest edition of the Irish Rally Podcast. We're down here in the lovely heartlands of Kilbride with Colin O'Toole, the man who played a major part in getting this podcast up and running, it must be said, through J&J services and general contacts and all that kind of stuff. Colin, I think this is episode 7, maybe episode 8, and after flying along, we've got good feedback, and I'm obviously very grateful for the help that you're after giving me, but so far so good. The only thing we don't have is action.
Yeah,
the one thing we set it up for.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see the podcast going very well for you, and I suppose with the exception of Terence, it's a big step down in terms of quality for guests compared to what you've had last. But sure, we'll plug J&J services and GRT higher a few times and tell a few lies and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think we had Ted in episode 2. Seems like a lifetime ago actually, but yeah, you had a few trips with Ted down through the years.
I had, a few trips is right. We did 3 or 4 rallies together. Some of the stories we can't tell. We let Terence tell them, or as I said to him, they'll be in the book when I write one. But I know we got on very well. But the Millington was that was frightening. That was scary, just the pace of it. I've sat in quick cars and all, but when you're in the car and you're going down the road and there's 2 narrow ditches either side of you, it's just frightening. Yeah, I think it's a different level. He
even admitted himself that it was just ferociously quick, and he was like, Jesus, is this nearly fucking too quick for me, kind of a thing.
It's a different ball game, because we a few days before we went for a spin in it, just get seats, everything set up, and when you're on a big wide main road, the car is quick, but it just doesn't feel like it. Yeah. But I'll never forget the first stage we were up there, and there was a right-hander, and he went down just a small bit of a hill, turned square left, and it was a straight out of the square left. I think it was 600 was over, and we just came down to it, turned in. I called the note, and just the split second I had to think, I just said, Mother of Jesus, just you're gone, But in a way, it's a little bit easier to call notes because you're just calling them so quick. You don't have time to stop. Yeah. You're just calling. But it was great that I did it. I loved it. Don't know if I'd be cut out to do it again. Yeah, just that kind of the pace was just a little bit whoa. Pace was just frightening. Yeah, and he'll say himself, we wouldn't have been on the pace of the top the lads in that class that day, but it was still frightening.
Yeah.
Frightening.
And it's mad because Mick Cody spoke about it as well when he was sitting in with Straker, and I remember him, I can still see him talking about this brown door that he thought was a mile away and coming so close to him. Yeah. And he said, what did he say? Oh baby, you're all mama or something, because it just came up on top of him like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what he means. It's everything is just coming so quick, It's frightening, but we did have good laugh now. There's a few stories from Monaghan. There's one now is still pending a legal case now at the minute. But we can't say anything about that.
Well, sure, tell us a little bit about it. Tell us a little bit of something anyway.
Well, it happened in the build-up to it, and it involved a dog bite, and that's all we'll say. We won't say any more.
Right, okay. So I'm going to have to. When am I going to wait and get this story now? You're saying Ted's bringing out some sort of a book, or whatever. You're not going to keep the people waiting. You may tell us something anyway. Tell us, even if it's a lie.
Even if it's a lie, you're right. Yeah. I know. We did Laois in the 1600 car. And we drove out of Park Ferme to service, which is up in Laois. It's in the same area. So we drove over, and next thing he decided he wasn't happy where the seat was, in the space of 20 yards. So we were like, right. So he decided he was going to take out the seat. So we had about 10 minutes service to take out the seat. Seat couldn't be got out. So then he got the seat out. Then we ran out of time, so I was getting on and said we may go. So we actually drove to the start of the first stage with the seat just literally sitting in place. Jeez. There was no bolts, no nothing. So the seat was in place, and the stage was only out the road. So we got out the road and we pulled in, and we must have spent another 15 or 20 minutes trying to put the seat back in place for him. And eventually we got it in and we went on, and we had right days cracked in. But when they come to any of the other stories now, they're for another day.
There's a risky business there now after going through scrutiny and all. The next thing the seat comes out.
Seat comes out. But look, we got it sorted and all. He just, whatever way it was, he just wasn't happy with it. And sure, when something gets in your head, then it's in your head then for the day.
Yeah. Even the hook with the paint on the wheels and the wheel coming off and stuff like that.
Gas, I never had as much crack the day up in Monaghan. and we did leash, and we did what else did we? Oh, we did bottle lass, and just the crack we had was absolutely deadly. You know, it was great crack because I had said to him in the build up to it that I'd sit in if he was stuck. I'd sit in because I've navigated a lot, but I wouldn't be big into it. You know, I'd prefer to be behind the wheel. But I said to him if he was stuck, grand, we'll go. So we went and jeez, we had some crack for the 3 or 4 we did was great crack, you know.
Yeah.
But he sacked me then. So that was it.
You got the P45.
Got to P45 then after that. Yeah.
Yeah, because of course usually used to sit with him, Eugene McGrath.
And he's back with him now again. Whenever he does do an odd one, but
yeah,
it was great crack now. In fairness to him.
Yeah, and I suppose this is probably a prime example of, you know, like even though Ted was competing at a very high level and all, just the Clubman story, I suppose, that these stories are happening up and down and have done for the last 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't get to hear them, and that's why I think it's important on the podcast too to hear this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I know some of the stories you'd hear and you'd see yourself, like, you know, a lot of them obviously enough you can't tell.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But there's a lot of them to get out.
Even the funny one, I don't know if we've told this in the podcast before, but marshalling up in Donegal 3 years ago, I can't think of the stage on the first day. It could have been Trent, I think it was. And we were at a 90 left anyway, and there wasn't too much room for spectators or anything like that. It was quite enough, but it was a dangerous fake of a bend, like. And Lee McLaughlin, I don't know if you know him, up in Donegal.
Yeah.
He came straight down, Dukes of Hazzard style, straight out over the ditch into this field. And there was a couple of fields joining into it onto the escape road. So we had the opening gates and all that. And in fairness to the co-driver, he closed every gate he opened as well. He didn't just leave, all the cows go to the field or whatever. He was a bit considerate of the surroundings. So he got onto an escape road. If he had to turn left, he would have arrived down 3 junctions further down the road. But he turned right. So that was grand anyway. I was like, where's this lad going? About 5 minutes later, I was beep, 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 came back around the same location again.
Back again. He was after losing his way.
He came back onto the bike, came around the same location twice, which I thought was hilarious. Gets better. So we were on Garton then the following day, and there's an old pub on Garton, and there's kind of a staggered 4 crossroads on it. The women are great actually that used to own the pub. They come out and they sell sandwiches and stuff. They set up a little table and you can get your tea or whatever. They didn't lose the enterprise mind. But there's a lovely hairpin on it anyway. I'd say you definitely know that one too if you've seen it down through Finn's videos or Vantage Points or any of the boys like that. But further on down, about 100 yards down one of the escape roads, or maybe more than a couple of 100 yards, but you have a location probably, I don't know, it could be 8 locations on, because they go around the lake. So that was fine anyway. We were marshalling and McLaughlin came around that, and then at the end of the second one we walked down and there's a Civic in over the ditch. McLaughlin again, we were on the junction. And then, you couldn't write this, we're on Glen on the Sunday. We went to spectate that day. Who was there? McLaughlin. Bag of cans.
Parked up. Had enough of us.
Yeah, I don't know if we were like the Grim Reaper going around or what the crack was, but again, prime example of a clubman having the crack or whatever. And seeing the funny side, even though there's a bit of damage done. And do you know what? We'll have a few cans here, lads, on the Sunday. You know?
Yeah, be done with it. There's lots of stories like that, yeah.
Yeah, common enough, I suppose. But like from your point of view, when you talk about the navigating and the car being ferociously quick and thinking here, I think I might like to either drive or sim with something slower. Like we had Rory Kennedy on the podcast and Pat Malotney. Like you look at Rory there now, and like Rory's navigating years, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying it, but like he's fairly well on in comparison to a lot of the navigators out there who are in a younger age bracket altogether. The speed doesn't seem to frighten him whatsoever. He wants more of it, like.
Yeah. I suppose you just get used to it, but. Like, I've probably done as much navigating as I have driving, but it was one thing I never really got fully into, and I've sat with lots of people. I kind of only tend to sit with people I know and kind of are friends with, and if somebody is stuck, I'll help them out, all right. But it's just something I never got big into. Just. I suppose when you're sitting there, you kind of think to yourself, you don't have full control when you don't have the wheel and the pedals in front of you. But as I say, I didn't mind it. Like, it's not that I didn't like it, but just I preferred to be behind the wheel, you know. Yeah.
Like there's a huge difference though in the skill set, and as we said many times already, you know, you can't underestimate the hardship that a navigator goes through, be it with time and all that, as well as calling the notes. It's a like there's a savage responsibility, like.
Oh, it's massive, yeah. It's massive responsibility in the work, and like, I no point saying any different. I wouldn't put in half the work that a lot of the navigators do. You know, I'd kind of rock on and work out your time cards in the morning and then kind of tip away that way. But the work that some of them do, and I see myself that the navigators I've had, the work they put in is phenomenal. You know, the background of the maps and your notes and tidying up your notes then the night before, whereas I just scribble it out and write a new one and kind of tip away. But the lads that do put the work in, it's huge, you know.
Yeah, and I suppose let's bring it back to the here and now and the fact that we don't have anything. And the most recent disappointment we're after getting only the last day or two, the sprint in Mondello is not going ahead on Sunday or over the weekend. You know, like the people were looking forward to that immensely. Those were kind of the outlets when we hadn't got stage rallying, and we saw the autocross and rally sprints and across quarries and all this kind of thing going on, and that's how lads improvise. But a major disappointment, but we have to understand it, I suppose, and accept it, don't we?
Yeah, this is the thing, and whether it should be going ahead or shouldn't be going ahead, it's the $1 million question that there's probably no right answer to. Like level 2, grand, you could work away, and I was actually supposed to navigate for the Rock when it was going ahead, but you can understand why it was pulled. When it got to level 3, again, you have the two, you know, you have the pros and cons to whether it should run or it shouldn't run. Going by the restrictions, you can't really say that it should run. You know, like, is towing a rally car from any part of the country to Mondello or to the north, wherever it is it an essential journey? If you were to hold a gun to my head, I'd say no, it's not. Like,
yeah.
So it's very hard to know. It's very hard to know what to do.
It involves a lot of stoppages along the way as well through those routes,
Yeah,
like, and that's
this is the thing, like, you know. And now they're asking people to stay at home. You know, you can't visit anybody. And then on the other hand, you're looking to run rally sprints or rallying, whatever it is. It just, I don't think, if you're to read into restrictions, I don't think it can go ahead. You know, and everybody has the arguments to and against. It's very hard to know. But at this moment in time, with the restrictions that are in place, I personally don't think it can go ahead.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like, I suppose you're. Let's be honest about it. You were a bit iffy about this all along. Anyway, you were kind of thinking.
Yeah. It's very hard. It's hard to know. Mondello or rally sprints or rally crosses, they can be controlled because you have your one gate in. You can have you and your mechanic with you. So there is a good argument for Mondello. That's grand. But rallying is kind of different because you're dragging people from all over the country. You're relying on spectators not to go, which is very hard to do. So, like, rallying is tricky. I know I like probably being a bit of a hypocrite because I was to do the Ravens Rock. But when it was on level 2 with the restrictions in place, you'd say, if everything is done right, grand, you can run it. But just, it's with level 3, it can't run. You know? Well, when I say it can't run, that's only my opinion on it anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
And with the whole thing of crowds going to rallies and stuff, and I know we made the point before that it's outdoor and it might be that bit safe, whatever. However, having thought about it since, like, with most of these locations, if you're going to a rally and you look at it, 9 times out of 10, people will flock to the same location because either because it looks like a great bend on the map or because it's the most accessible. You know, you don't get that even scattering across the stage either.
Yeah.
So that's a cluster straight away. Like.
Straight away, yeah. And it's, as I say, it's very, very tricky. I know Terence had said earlier on, if they had pulled a year, everybody would have known where they stood. Whereas now it's everything is stop, start. One thing gets a date, a couple of days before it is pulled. If they had pulled it at the start of the year, everybody would have known where everybody stood. And it's just, it's very tricky at the minute, you know. I know Killarney still has the date to run. Even that's looking doubtful now at the minute. So it's very up in the air, you know.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's like that's probably, yeah. Killarney Historics have their date. Wexford were still obviously looking to run. They've postponed with the hope of still getting a date, but. Yeah, sure. Look, as every passing day goes, it looks more unlikely. Like, so, And again, with all these cases kind of going up, whatever, I don't know, our lads nearly as well just to say, look, we have a short window here now. We've only a few weeks left in the year as it stands. Do you just draw a line through it? Like, what's the advantage in even getting that event going? I know lads have been crying out to go to it and all that, and I say that with a heavy heart, and the two of us love our rallying and all that, but, like, I mean, at the end of the day, we're only a few months away from the turn of the new year. It's not going to go away in the new year, but we might be in a better position to kind of deal with how we get set up. And I'm sure MI and all the boys have been talking about how they can facilitate things maybe going into the new year.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I know I had said it already. If the year had been cancelled, you would have said grand. But in hindsight, you know, hindsight is a great thing. But maybe at this stage there would be as well, just to knock it on the head for the year. Maybe run a rally sprint or two at the start of the year, kind of different locations, and I don't know, we do be talking about ourselves, and if they ran the rally sprint like the way they're going to run the rally, so use whatever way they're going to use their time cards, your road books, kind of use it just as a breaking in event to see how the rally is going to run before just kind of diving in. And you know, it's very hard to know, but if it was me now, I would knock it on the head for the year. And as you say, it's not going to go away next year, but you know, you have to, the perception of rallying has to be looked at, and if we're bringing people from all over the country to your county, it just doesn't look great now at this time, you know.
Yeah, and if you look at it from the point of view, like, you're a big GA man, I'm a big GA man as well, as you know, having the other interests or whatever, but like, you see how for and against people are with the whole inter-county thing at the moment, and there is a massive divide, and I don't know how the GA coming out of this looking well, because it seems like there's only one motivating factor, and we all know what it is like, and it's the spun noodles. So if that doesn't go ahead, I appreciate the fact that they are down to half money, but it can't be at the detriment of people who are putting themselves on the line for our entertainment and all that kind of stuff. So you don't want rallying being painted in that light either, do you know what I mean? Because even to have a debate about it means there's something amiss, like, you know. So I'm sure that's something that everyone involved in Irish rallying is kind of conscious of too, that they don't want to come out of this looking terrible, as well as putting people's health on the line, like.
Yeah, this is the thing, you know, please God, when this goes away, we want to be able to go back rallying. So if one was held now and something did go wrong or something came from it, it's just a pure perception. Like, you know yourself, with the club we were involved in, we had to cancel a match, and it turned out to work against us. Now, kind of with rallying, it's kind of the same. If something was to go wrong, you know, it'd be very hard to go back to that area or go back to that house and knock on your door and say, look, we want to close the road again, you know, and after something happening. So I think there would be just knock it on the head for the year. And I know it's affecting a lot of people, and even we run our own business and it's affecting us as well. We'd get a lot of signs and graphics and all bits and pieces coming up to the Carroll Rally and Wexford Rally and all. So it's not that we don't know about it, you know, but just for the pure perception of rallying, I think we're going to have to leave it, you know.
Yeah. How close were things to, like, the Rock went the week of it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking just even from the likes of, say Patterson or On the Pace Note, I'm sure all them yokes were rocked and ready to go.
Oh, I was ready to go. Like, we had the notes and all got, and I was to go down the Wednesday night before. We were to go down and just get seats and everything set up. Everything was good to go, you know. So it was literally just pulled a couple of days before, but everything was lined up, ready to go, you know.
Yeah, and like the entry fees and all that is very messy now as well, because lads that are paying entries
trying to get that sorted out, and like it's a headache for the club, you know. And sure, Wexford would have been in the same boat. Like, they would have had all their meetings, all their paperwork, like the work that goes on behind the scenes just to get it to a certain stage even, and then for it to be pulled is a lot of work, you know.
Yeah, like lads booked into places, and I'm just trying to think of all those headaches, and the organisers must have been just like, oh Jesus, like, to be so close to actually having it.
Yeah.
And you know, in the sense we're saying we should you know, not go ahead with stuff lock, stock and barrel for the year, but if it did go ahead, the one thing I'd say about it would be there would have been some sort of a basis to work off it, and you would have had a little bit of feedback on it, good, bad, or indifferent. Hopefully not too serious, but you would have had something to work off to see, right, this is how this went. We can't go this again, or do you know what? That didn't work too bad.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a few things we can work on here.
Tweak it here and there. Yeah.
Do you know? So from that point of view, it would have been nice to see it go ahead, just to see would other events be able to take anything from it when hopefully they get to go ahead.
Yeah,
next year.
maybe a couple of forestries might be the better way to go at the start of the year, because you don't have your residents to worry about, and you have a lot less spectators to worry about. So, like, if they could try it out on a forestry or two first, they'll know a lot more than going into the first tarmac round, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, I mean, like every motorsport fan, I'm sure during lockdowns and stuff, you spent a lot of time going back through old videos and stuff. Or did you?
No, not really. No, it's like I was saying to you earlier on. We were lucky enough. We didn't really have a lockdown. There was a couple of us had to stay working, but actually we'd be looking at old videos, and it's like the old saying: the older you get, the faster you are, you know. But Asher, we might get back going again. We have the 2 cars still out in the shed, and
yeah, what's the crack at the moment? Talk to us about that, because I know it was Brian Hutton doing a bit of work there, was he?
Brian was doing a bit of work. It took him a little bit longer than he first expected, but we got the car back off him and all anyway. So the car's all painted up and all the body work is done on it. So we're putting it back together now. And we had an older car that we built ourselves back in, I think it was 99 or 2000, and I'm after resurrecting that now as well. So for me scenes, I'm trying to get the 2 of them back on. But kind of rallying has changed now as well. It's a lot more expensive than when we were kind of at it strong, and it's kind of, without sounding too harsh, a lot of the fun that used to be in it is kind of gone out of it. You know, it's probably not as enjoyable for me anyway as it used to be. You know, you'd still have good crack at it and be a laugh at it, but it's not the same as it used to be, you know.
Yeah, just gone too serious or something, is it, do you think?
Yeah, and just the expense of it. Like the year we did the National in 2006, and the entry fees were all ranging. Every entry fee was around €500, which is, you know, it's manageable when you're doing the National, like, but to go do it now, sure, an entry fee, like, you're talking €800-900 now for an entry fee alone, and that's before all your other costs on top of it, you know. And it's just it's gone to a different level just of price, but it's not the same fun is just not in it as what it used to be, you know.
Is that down to I don't want to sound harsh now by saying a claim culture, or that has, like, insurance has
insurance,
contributed to that,
yeah,
hasn't it?
It's insurance is what's killing the entry fee. You know, when you break it down, you see it there with Carlo ourselves, like, when you break down the cost of insurance is huge in it, you know.
Yeah.
And again, sure, that's the whole claim culture, you know.
Yeah, and he even saw something going in the news there. We won't guess who, but some boys drank milk that was gone out of date.
Oh, the milk, out of date milk, yeah. You know, so this is what you're up against in this day and age, you know.
Yeah, like,
it's what you're up against. But hopefully rallying does come back and we get back. The one dream I've always had is Donegal, and we had actually talked about trying to do it next year, before the whole COVID kicked in. So obviously it's hard to know whether something like that had run now, but hopefully one day if we got to do it on Donegal and hang up the boots, then happy enough, you know.
Yeah,
that's the last one on the list.
I think David Connell only did that for the first time last year.
Yeah.
Like, and he's in rallying a long time, and he seemed to be really enjoying himself up there, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, like, I only went up for the first time to spectate 3 years ago, because I'd never done it until 3 years ago. I was like, lads, what the hell have I been doing all my life, like, you know?
It's a different ball game altogether up there, you know. So hopefully one day, touch a bit of wood here, that it will happen, but whether it'll be next year or the following year, time will tell, you know.
Yeah, it's run superbly. I say it time and time again. It's just everything just goes really smoothly up there. There's no, you know, acting the Bowser ever, you know, even from the point of view of, so the boys have the King of the Corn thing going on. I think that kind of separates that sort of crowd and keeps them out of the way. You know, to a certain extent anyway. I won't say it'll do away with it altogether, but it keeps them kind of out of the way. And, you know, because a lot of the guys that go up and are into that sort of crack don't even go to the bloody rally. Do you know? So I think that's one good advantage of it. At other events, they go up and some lads think they're in the bloody rally.
Yeah. But even for the county itself, the money that it brings in for the economy is huge.
Massive.
You know, it's absolutely huge.
Yeah. I was looking back through some of the stuff that Motorsport Ireland, I think, bought the archive from RPM, and they're sharing stuff there every week. Last week they had Rally of the Lakes from 2000. I remember actually being at that rally. I remember Finley in the plain white Focus. All was on it was a Pirelli sticker. And he was going off to the Acropolis, I think, shortly after that with Rory Kennedy. And I just remember being lit up at the time in that particular era and how good it was. And last night they had the Summit Rally, which was an improvisation, of course, because I think the circuit fell by the wayside and Galway fell by the wayside. So I think the Rally of the Lakes could have been the first round. And then the Summit was possibly round 2. But one thing I actually had forgotten was that Stephen Murphy actually led the championship after the first 2 rounds.
First 2 rounds,
yeah. Completely forgot that.
Yeah, and he was in Bertie Fisher's old Subaru.
Correct, yeah.
And I actually got a spin in that car with him up on Mount Leinster one day. His mechanic's son was in school with us, and he used to tell us when he was going testing. So we were able to go up. So actually was fortunate enough to get spin in that and a spin in his Escort Cosworth up there. And there were 2 magic cars.
You sent me the picture of you in the Escort. Jesus, like that would have been some experience at the time.
Yeah, always magic. But the 2 cars were chalk and cheese different. Like the noise of the Escort was just, it was deafening, you know. And then you're in the Subaru and it's just kind of a raw car. Yeah, you'd hear an odd pop and bang, but that'd be it, you know.
Yeah, that particular test part, right? Was that from? Do you know that like really steep drop you have, Royal Sheep to be in Mount Leinster? Is that the actual?
No,
you didn't drive that one, surely.
No, it's before. There's a forestry just before that.
Yeah.
And you turn there, so you were using there, and you were heading back down to the T junction, and you were turning right for Bunclody.
Okay.
And heading down for where the windmills are now.
Yeah.
And you just turned there.
I was thinking that's a fairly hairy place to be testing, and definitely for a young lad to be sitting in beside and be looking down and just
looking down at the
goes wrong here, lads, it's game over.
Yeah. the last time Carlo used that stage, oh God, early 2000s anyway. They were coming from the Boris side, and the Mark II actually went down over it. So went the whole way down, and no, thankfully they were all right and all. The car was a bit worse for wear, all right, but they needed to go a few ratchet straps to pull it back up. But,
well, when was that? Like that's a good few years ago.
Yeah, it's I think 2003.
And they actually used that segment that we're talking about. That mad segment.
Yeah. So it started on the far side, started on the Boris side.
Yeah.
And came up across then the 9 Stones, heading for say our house here where we are now at the minute. And you turn right then for Bunclody and on down that road.
Jesus.
That's the last time it was actually used. Didn't use it after.
Yeah, because for a couple of years it was kind of in around that kind of general direction too. I remember, was it a Corsa wrapping off a telegraph pole up somewhere up around this neck of the woods as well.
Well, the road outside our gate has often been used for control, arrival and finish control.
Yeah.
The stage it normally start or finish just barely up the road there. So we'd be kind of in the heart of it here.
Yeah, so you couldn't be at now. It's only into rallying like
anything else is right.
A stone's throw from the pitch as well.
Yeah,
but no, look, that was just going back to the RPM thing. That was great improvisation at the time using Sean Quinn's quarry.
Yeah, I think was that the year of the foot and mouth, was it? Is that how the
foot and mouth was the year after? I think foot and mouth was 01. This was 2000.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, Galway and the circuit didn't go. I don't know what did or didn't happen. I know there was a bit of hardship in Galway in around that time with lads acting the Bowsy as well. Yeah. In previous years to that, so maybe that was a contributing factor. But Stevie led the championship after. That was mad. It still bugs me that. Look, I'll be straight about it now. But when Off the Ball did the Mount Rushmore thing, and the Mount Rushmore was to pick 4 greatest sports people, we'll say, from each county.
Yeah.
I don't know how that man was in the conversation.
Yeah.
Do you know, it still bugs me a little bit.
There wasn't too many drivers in the conversation for any of them, I don't think.
There actually wasn't. You think about it, I don't know, was McHale mentioned at all?
I don't think so. I heard a few of them. I didn't hear them all now. But no, Stevie definitely didn't get a mention anyway.
Crazy.
You know.
And I mean, Mount Rushmore, who'd you get to climb on? Stevie drive with the mountain with the boys, like, you know. But look, everyone to their own. It's a game of opinion, as the fella
exactly.
said. But no, they were great times, and the boys on the Spring podcast, in fairness, did a great one there about the boom, and all the kind of mad stuff that was happening. Or talking about a particular season when Derek McGarty drove, was it 5?
Oh yeah, I actually heard that one. It was a very good one. Yeah.
Mental out the cars and
yeah.
And going over in the helicopter to the Pro Drives, bring back a parts.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They were the days, alright.
Yeah, chatting about the tree. Was the tree plasterers or plumbers or something in the helicopter going down to Donegal, getting the lad to fly them around for the weekend?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff altogether, yeah. But like they were great. The boys did a very good episode on that. It's worth checking out on the Sprint or whatever. But yeah, there was a great era there. I particularly have fond memories of going from, say, the period of 97, 98 up to as far as 01. I loved that particular. I don't know whether it's because I was kind of growing up with it or whatever, but it just seemed like a great time. And then, like, even though the boom was great and there was some, Donnelly came into his own, had some great battles and all that too. Those 3 years I thought were great. Like,
they were top class of it. Yeah.
Where is it at for you in terms of the peak era that you look back and think, geez, I actually really enjoyed that? Whether it be growing up or, just in general?
Just in general. Well, obviously for myself it would have been 2006, the year of the National, like.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't actually even planned on doing it that year. It just kind of fell into place. We did the junior championship the year before. It was the first junior championship, the West Coast one, and we were fortunate enough to win that. And then there's a man in Scotland, Bill Faulkner, builds all our engines, and kind of talking to him one day, and he just said we get a 1600 16 valve engine built with him. So we got that done, and then Circuit of Kerry was the first round of it, and we were using Connor Pass and Slay Head, which are just two unbelievable stages. And it was the last year they used them. And when we seen they were using them, we said we'd have to go down and do them. So John McGrath from Bunclody signed with me for the year, and he's gone on to do much bigger and better things in the navigating seat since then. But we kind of just went from one rally to the next, and I don't know, it was the whole year, and it was the people we met. There was people did the championship with us, all the powers in Waterford and all, and we used to have great crack, and there was full entries everywhere and big cars, and so it was probably kind of middle 00s would have been my favourite time of the year,
Yeah.
It was around then, like.
Yeah. Look, even that year with Nesbitt in the Evo, and Higgins is in one as well.
Up in Donegal, yeah.
And McRae obviously came to Donegal, I think, that year as well.
Yeah.
In the Metro. The year before that, Dundee Lakes in the Mar too. I remember him vividly coming around one bend, and I was like, oh my God, just the car control.
Yeah.
He had a bit more weight, I think, in the back of that or something. He had distributed the weight more evenly on that.
Done
Mar
it different,
too.
yeah. We were at Ladies View for that, and he was the same coming around Ladies View. Was a different gravy with him,
Yeah, and even seeing him coming up the gap, there's a clip of it there on YouTube, like, and just the way the car was balanced, like, Jesus, he was mighty, like, and to have them boys coming over.
Yeah.
And then, now the one thing we might just finish up on is they're talking about a World Rally event coming to the island next year. Now, I think it could be Rally GB, but in Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland, yeah.
But it's still going to be on the island, and that's not a bad thing at all.
No, it's not a bad thing at all, no. And you seen the last time that it ran, the teams coming over to do the rallies prior to it for testing,
Yeah.
So it'd be great to see it again, because it's a big country for rallying,
Yeah, I remember the crack with Sligo that time and setting up, and they're bringing in broadband and all that, and I say Sligo benefited massively, not just financially, but even the fact that they probably got the very internet connections and all that before anyone had. Like, Jesus, what went into that was serious. Like,
yeah. Well, it'd be great to see it again,
Absolutely, and hopefully we will see it all going well. Colin, that's pretty much it, I'd say. Anything else you want to tell us now before we finish up?
That's it now.
You still want to keep them stories for another time?
No, that's it now. May get back to work now.
Aye, well, listen, come here, and thanks for being so supportive. You sponsored a good few episodes there and stuff, and put us in contact with other sponsors and contacts in general, trying to get lads on it. So thanks to yourself and all the boys there at J&J Services, and good to have you on the podcast. We had to talk into it there a few times, but
Indeed.
thanks for coming on. It's great to speak to you, and all the best.
No problem. Thanks very much.